Hi, I participated in a Volkswagen drive event at their headquarters near Herndon, Virginia on June 27th. It was for the 7th generation Jetta. To mark the event, Volkswagen parked a fully renovated Mark I Jetta in front, so the journalists saw it as they drove into the facility. It was a 1982 Jetta looking mighty fine, parked out in front of the building. The Jetta was introduced actually in 1979, and Volkswagen has sold 17 million Jettas in 39 years. Jetta actually outsold Volkswagen Golfs, which was a surprise to me. The 2019 Jetta was built for the US market. There is actually no European Jetta now. The 7th generation Jetta boasts an upscale driver-centric interior, slick four-door coupe-like exterior styling. The front-end design bears a strong family resemblance to Passat, Tiguan, and the Atlas. Standard LED headlights, taillights, and daytime running lights are offered in all models. The 1.4 turbo engine makes 147 horsepower and delivers 30 miles per gallon city, 40 miles per gallon highway, and that's at 34 miles per gallon combined. The Jetta is available in 5 trim levels, starting with the Jetta S at $18,545, and the Jetta S is the only model where you can get an excellent 6-speed manual transmission. The top of the line Jetta, the SEL Premium, is priced at $26,945. And of note, the 2019 Jetta SEL Premium costs about $700 more than the previous model, but offers about $3,500 more in value. So it's a much better equipped car that costs a little bit more than the previous value. Offered for the first time in Jetta, a 400-watt Beats audio premium audio system, and a full suite of driver assistance technologies is available, and they become more standard, or more features are standard as you move up the trim level line. Volkswagen achieved cost savings on the new Jetta because it's based on the MQB modular chassis as are other Volkswagens. So you have the opportunity to share from the same parts bin and give you that quality for less money. They're offering Jetta with a 6-year, 72,000 mile warranty, and all Jettas are now made in Mexico. My co-driver for the day, Damalo Idowo, publisher, editor-in-chief of Owners Illustrated. When Damalo and I get together, we do some talking. So we do talk about Jetta, the value that Volkswagen's put in the Jetta, the safety features, and the fun-to-driveness that's still there in the new Jetta. But then we get into global trade, the effects that tariffs have on the global auto industry, machine learning, and the new technologies that are coming to all cars, and a bunch of other things that came up as we drove around in Northern Virginia in this 2019 Jetta. So strap in, enjoy the ride, and you can learn some things. Talk to you.
All right, okay. See, now you have the right contraption. I don't. So we go on Chainbridge Road to 66. Let me just try to, let's make sure. Okay. Yeah, this is real comfortable. It has the heated and cooled seats. So we came in Chainbridge Road, and what we're going to do is go back and try to just keep on Chainbridge to get to
66 toward Front Royal.
Now turn left.
No, we can't turn left. So we might have to leave our navigating assistant alone. First of all, it's possible to turn left. So that's part of what we're talking about as far as the AI. And then the vehicles also having an understanding of exactly where you are. Because it says now turn left, but if we were to turn left, we'll be basically driving into traffic. So...
prepare to keep right.
Okay, now it's saying prepare to keep right. So it's not possible to turn left. And I think that that's also a thing about it, because as these driver assist programs, packages are coming to bear, being that there's not a historical context of people utilizing them and how you're getting taught how to drive. I mean, in driving school, they're not teaching you about, well, okay, so here's the driver assist package, and here's what you're going to do with that.
You know, that's an interesting point, because drive a car is difficult, and then having the car help you when you haven't figured all that out.
Yes,
that's a bad thing, actually.
Yeah, and then people become over reliant upon the driver assist packages, and they don't pay attention to
Anything.
Basic anything. Right?
Driving around town, you know, people will pull up to an intersection. The light is green, and they'll just stop because they're trying to figure out what the little screen is telling them to do, and it's like you have to have some situational awareness at all times, because ultimately you're responsible for that vehicle running over somebody or someone's child. So you have to pay attention. You have to have some awareness of what other people are doing. Like, you know, you have to drive your car.
I mean, that's like basic.
Yeah. The systems aren't to the point where you have to ignore it. And it's not just motors. I mean, it's people walking. You know, people on their motorcycles. They're all, you know, responsible for getting home safe.
Yeah, I think that what is occurring, and I was talking with some people about this yesterday with Amex, is that we have the modern phone, the evolution of the modern phone within the past decade, basically putting a computer, an interactive computer, into your hands. Because even with a computer, you have all these contraptions. You sit at a desk, you have your keyboard, your mouse, you set it up, you turn it on. Yeah. With a phone, you just tap it, you tap the screen, and anything that you want, you're able to command it. Now, even with the AI, you could basically say, okay, Google.
Right after a quarter of a mile onto the Interstate 66 west towards...
Okay, now it's actually picking. Now, it said turn left, but really we needed to turn right to go in the direction of where we needed to go.
Yeah, but it was starting to take a shorter route. We're taking the roundabout route because we're test driving this car.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing about context and how the AI would learn and understand what's going on.
Yeah, the driver's ignoring me. Let me see how I can recover from this.
Exactly. But now it's such a distraction. And then multiply this by a factor of billions, because you literally, on Facebook, like right now, you have the ability to reach 2 billion people. There are 2 billion people that are Facebook users, just to give context. So when in humanity have you had the ability to connect 2 billion humans at the same time?
Today.
Yeah, right? So we entering in a whole new world, and right now, most of what we're doing is just tapping around. We like exploring, and we're venturing around, and we distracted. We're just fascinated by, wow, I could get information in my hands.
Yeah, it's the next exit.
The next exit.
Yep.
So people are just enamored by that, and they've not really adapted to making the technology operate in the background. So you really can't even have a meal with a person without people still engaging with this sensory feed of information and data and engagement, and it doesn't make it safe. Right. It's like you're still a human being, a physical person, and you need to pay attention to your surroundings and your environment. And especially in a vehicle, you really need to pay full attention.
Right.
Because you have the ability to end a person's life if you're not. Right. And including your own.
Right. And the big challenge there is that everybody's not at the same level of technology. Everybody doesn't have all the extra tools that you have. So you have to look out for everybody. But people assume, even if all this technology was not in cars, people still assume that they can step out in front of you because you see them.
Yes.
And that's a bad assumption. But anyway, the idea with the tools is to help the person who is trying to pay attention not miss that 5% of that one child who stepped out in their blind spot, stepped off the curb. That's what the technology is there to do. It's not there to make a horrible driver a good driver. It's just not that mature yet.
Yeah, and I think that as these companies, and we would love to see if they have an engineer on site, as they're building in these sensors and building in these tools, and also building in these safety packages. How are they thinking about the intuitiveness, and also thinking and also modifying for human behavior?
Oh, that's an entire field of science. Are you talking about the HMI, human machine interface?
Yeah. Yes.
That's. I mean, you can get people with PhDs in that because it's a ever evolving field. As technology improves and the ability for the human interacting with the system changes, and there are more opportunities as the technology matures. So that's a fascinating area of study. It absolutely is, because it can make. I mean, I'm gonna go back to my first iPhone. I was a BlackBerry fiend. I could
and me both.
I could thumb type with the best.
Yeah.
I could thumb type with the best of them, on my BlackBerry, and I got this iPhone because a friend of mine had. I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Right, and I get mine, and it's like I can't operate. I can't. There's no what.
There's no keyboard.
I could not make it work, and I called him. I said, I think I made a mistake. After 2 days, it's like I'm still not. He goes, let the software type for you. Let it it'll figure out what words you're typing. You don't have to type exactly precisely.
Exactly.
The software figured out. And when he said that, I'm like, oh, and it just set me free. Because with the BlackBerry, with the keyboard, you had to.
But it was all analog.
You had to do it. What was all?
But the BlackBerry, it's like
yeah. And so that was absolutely a game changer. Now, like no one has these keys on their phones. I saw somebody with a BlackBerry the other day. It's like, I was amazed. That thing still works, and it was still on somebody's network too. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, in fact, the change was so drastic it literally put BlackBerry out of business. So now they're not even making BlackBerry phones; they're making Android phones, which is a different operating system.
Yep.
And the whole culture has changed, where BlackBerry no longer is able to do what was their core competency. Now they have to adapt to a world where what they did was so ubiquitous, and now it's no longer essential.
It's the classic business challenge where you are dominant in the market. Things were changing, and you didn't stay ahead of the changes. It wasn't a matter for them to keep up. They had to stay ahead of it, and they just didn't quite get there.
Yeah.
But man, that BlackBerry, and I use it for business. And the iPhone.
I had that, and then I also had the Palm, and then even Palm is not in business.
So if I dig through the bottom of my drawers, I have a Palm Pilot somewhere there too.
Actually, I think that my son, I got him a Palm Pilot, and it was the Windows version. So it was like a Windows, right here?
286, right?
So he had the Windows version, and he had that preteen. So that might have had an influence on him getting into the game. So that's what he took to school, and he was able to draw on it and write on it.
700 feet onto the VA286.
Are we going north? Okay. So he was able to draw on that, and that little piece of technology. But it was like a combination of keys. It was sort of like the bridge of what the iPhone is versus what the BlackBerry was.
VA286 for 5 miles.
Because you could actually type on it, but then it also had the screens, and then it had a pointer.
There's a left on Franklin Farm Road.
How many miles?
It's like, what is that? I can't even tell from that. So it's from here about 3 miles.
Okay. Yeah, I think that inside here, they really now, I see what they're doing now as far as if you drove the Atlas, you'll see some of the feet, some of the touches, and on the inside as far as, and see, this actually has gesture because I didn't even touch it and it pulled up. So there's actually gesture and context awareness. So when you put your hand near the navigation screen, different things pop up. So there are sensors within the dashboard too, inside the car.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah, I can see that, and then you could.
Yeah.
And I think, and that's why it says it's learning, because the hardware, the electrical engineering part of it, has all these sensors, all this hardware you could build out, but the software is trying to interpret the data that it's receiving from these sensors and then building a user experience, which is the visuals that the driver and the consumer is going to be able to engage with. Because the consumer doesn't really want to see how the proverbial sausage is being made. They just want to get in their vehicle, get to where they want to go, and they want to be able to have the car do it in an efficient manner, do it in a comfortable manner, do it in a safe manner, most definitely. And seeing how these tools, but what we said is like a whole field of study.
So what happens to the fun to drive factor?
That is, and that is the key, because how much are we assisting driving, and how much does all this assistance take away from the human fun to drive, which is wrought with errors, but you make your corrections, you learn principles.
You know, there are a lot of people who, I think they see their car almost as an appliance. They really do want to get in, get where they're going. They don't want to be hassled by the car. They want to be safe, and they want to know that when they get in, they're going to arrive. You know, it's going to get them there. It's going to get them back home. There are other people who really like they're drivers. You know, they want to have some fun when they drive, and they want to be more connected to the machinery.
Exactly.
Than a lot of people. A lot of people like
so they take the traction control off. They take the braking assist off. They take a lot of stuff off.
Like, figure out how to manually shift the automatic transmission.
Exactly.
And that's.
But I think that is a dying art. And I don't even think that next generation of drivers are even going to care, because a lot of these things, standard, are not being introduced as far as American consumers. Because overseas, you drive with a standard. You drive.
This is the left.
Here?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
We might have to. Can you turn right?
Okay, I can turn right and turn around. Though it was the navigation was actually giving me a different direction to get on
there. Please make a U-turn after 300 feet.
There you
Please
go.
make a U-turn now.
Yep. So we could just turn around here.
How many people, new drivers, do you think are learning how to use a manual
Please
transmission?
turn right
None.
after 500
None. You want to think about that for a minute? It's just none.
Well, I'll say this: how many driving
Now
schools?
turn right.
How many driving schools are offering manual training?
I mean, how many people still have
Like,
cars
when you
with
ask a
manual
lot of the
transmissions?
manufacturers, they say the take rate in America on manuals is less than 5%.
Wow.
But offering. And we were just talking earlier about the fact that they're not even making sedans. Like, the American market is not even taking sedans. So in the crossover, you rarely see manuals in the crossover market at all.
Right.
I mean, not that it doesn't exist. I mean, when you get into Latin America, Middle East, Africa, Europe markets, you see a lot of people what they call the standard. And they're in the standard transmission. But for American audiences or American consumers, they don't want to use the 3-pedal.
You know, there was a point where automatic transmissions got poor fuel economy. They were slower. and that's not true anymore.
No.
You know, so they can be faster or as fast as the manual shift and get superior or the same
Please
as
make
the
a
fuel
U-turn after
economy.
500
So the only reason to get one, well, the automatic transmissions are still more expensive to buy, but you know, the manual transmission is still.
Well,
you know,
now you have 10 gears, right? So how can you simulate a human being
shifting faster than computer?
than a computer could do 10 gears?
Yeah,
And this car right now has 8 gears.
which is insane.
So this Jetta is an 8-speed automatic.
Please follow the road for 3/4 of a mile.
And
Now it's adapted to where we go.
right, and the top of the line 2019 Jetta Premium is like 26.5, something like that.
Yeah.
With all these features that previously you had to buy a much more expensive car.
Like, I mean, this dash here you see on the A4, and the A4 basically starts about approximately $8,000 to $10,000 more than this premium.
Right.
But you have some of that features as far as this digital dash.
Right.
The A3 is about 31, 32? 32 starting.
Yeah.
Starting, and you have this digital dash, but I don't even think that range you get.
But you probably have to go up to
Yes,
get that.
to get the tech package that would have that in it. So you're seeing, but now that I think about it, in the luxury market, they are making smaller cars.
Well, that was the A3, right? like the test was will people spend like buy a premium small car? We turn right,
Centerville Road.
Right on Centerville.
Yep.
Like will they spend premium dollars in a smaller car market? And the answer is yes.
It's yes. I mean, the A3 sold well. The CLA for Mercedes has sold well. I mean, in fact, you're selling sedans and crossovers simultaneously in the luxury market. So maybe at that price point, which is about $20,000 more, $15,000 to $20,000 more than a comparable price point in a non-luxury car in that space, then that profitability now makes that venture viable.
Yeah.
But still, it still begs the question, though, because, in fact, a lot of the foreign manufacturers are manufacturing these smaller cars in North America also. So how far do we go in Centerville?
About 3 miles.
Okay.
And then it's a right on Sunrise Valley Road.
Oh, then we're there, just about.
Right.
But I mean, that because, like, this is made in Mexico. It was manufactured in Mexico.
That's how they're making it affordable, right?
Yeah, so they're making it in North America, so delivery is just putting it on a tractor trailer, crossing the border.
Well, I don't know if they do that, or they might still put it on a ship to get it to a port. I don't know, or use trains. We should check that out.
Yeah. The different modes of delivery from...
It's cheaper than crossing the Atlantic, so I think we can
Yes.
agree on that.
Yes. I'm fascinated by that, though, that business decision.
It's a right. It might be that light way down there.
We're making a right at the light?
I'm guessing, but it's a right.
Okay. So I just get behind this driver here. I'm curious about that, though. But then I guess there's other considerations as far as other vehicles. See, that's the Model 3, and see how small that is?
Yeah. That's the second one I saw this morning.
Yeah, it's a lot in this area. I mean, I guess they've ramped up. But that's an American manufacturer also. Well, actually, they are a full-on American manufacturer. So I'm very fascinated at looking at the product mix. And then even discussions about tariffs and tax, and how much of looking at the composition of these 17 million cars that get sold every year in America when you're making policy decisions, how much is being evaluated on what is the mix of the marketplace? What are American consumers purchasing? And how many of those vehicles are being made here? Because a lot of the foreign brands now have factories in America. Like Volkswagen has opened a huge factory in Tennessee. And they're making a lot of vehicles.
Volkswagen, Mercedes, Nissan, Toyota,
Hyundai, Kia. Honda's huge in Ohio.
And Mazda and Toyota are building a joint plant.
They building another joint plant. Volvo just opened up a plant in South Carolina. BMW has a huge plant in South Carolina. In fact, they export from South Carolina.
So it seems like everybody else is figuring this out except our president or you.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of fascinating. We've been having a wide range.
Right after 700 feet onto Frying Pan Road.
Right here.
No, not front of this.
Where do we turn?
Right.
Sunrise Valley Road.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing about it. We've been having a wide-ranging conversation about elements involving this Jetta that we're driving. We're looking at how there's context awareness, so when you reach your hand, different things pop out. We're looking at how the car's adapting to your trends. So that's human-computer interaction. We're talking about safety assist packages. I mean, we're talking about a slew of issues that goes into a car that's starting out, I think the base is like $19,000.
I don't. Yeah. This is.
So you're product planning a $19,000 car, and you have to involve all of these issues into your consideration. And we haven't even talked about the physical materials that make up the vehicle.
That looks like that's coming up. The system's picked up Sunrise Valley.
Yeah, it's intuitive. And that's the thing about it. There's a desire to go to yesteryear, but as we just spoke about, we can't even go
700 feet onto Sunrise Valley Drive.
right here.
Yeah.
Like, we can't even go back 10 years to our BlackBerry.
Now turn right.
Right? Like, we want to go back. People want to go back. I'm like, I can't even go back to my Palm.
Yeah.
I can't go back to my Palm Pilot. I can't go back to my BlackBerry. Times evolve.
Well, even if you could, they're so slow compared to what we have now. You lose your mind waiting for it to do anything.
Exactly.
That's like the BlackBerry. You know, the internet interface for the BlackBerry was painful.
So it's sort of like a resistance to the Darwinism of adapting. Like, there's a resistance to adapting to a modern era that's different than a prior era.
Until you pick it up. Like I'll use my mother as an example. My father's a gadget guy. I mean, back from those Commodore 64s, he always wanted the latest gadget. My mother's not a gadget guy, but when he always has to have the latest phone, and they're on a family plan. So when he upgrades, she upgrades, and she would be frustrated because by the time she learned the phone, she'd get another one. And then she like broke the code on the iPhone, so now she sends me texts. She doesn't call anymore. She texts me.
Exactly.
It's like okay.
Like,
he's like, cut this out.
Exactly. Now texting has been the primary way of communicating, or posting on social media is the primary way of getting in touch with others.
Please turn left after 700 feet onto Corporate Park Drive.
Yeah, this is it. I think it's right there.
Now turn left.
This is how I came in, actually. I'll wait till the light changes, because that car was coming down.
Yep.
I mean, like, so here's something that we playing around with, and this is a watch, but it has a 64-bit processor, and it's basically 16 gigs of memory on my wrist. So it's a watch. It has AI. It's Android 7.0. I could not imagine being able to do something like that. And you can have this on your wrist. It can take measurements. So if you're able to miniaturize computing, and I think the processor in here is 28
Please turn right
nanometers.
after 400 feet onto East Park Drive. Now turn right.
Okay, so this is the right. So you basically are looking at 28 nanometers,
Please
something
turn
very...
left after 400 feet onto Woodland Point Avenue. Now turn left.
Okay.
Attention. Limited access ahead.
Yeah, we hear him now. But when you're able to miniaturize computers to your wrist, and then you could also now, I mean, a car has a lot more real estate. So it's kind of intriguing that cars haven't... Oh, that's another one. That's the one that they had in L.A. Miss Captain Marvel. They had that one. That's the Marvel. That is actually the Marvel. That's the Marvel movie that's coming out next year. And I guess Volkswagen is partnered with them because they have a Jetta that's painted.
Cool.
And I was able to see that in LA. So I guess we're back. We're back here at Audi, Volkswagen Group, also Audi headquarters, North America.
Just outside of Dulles Airport.
Just outside Dulles Airport in Virginia. Right outside DC, not far away.
So we've talked about everything, including something about this car. So what are your
exactly.
What are your takeaways for the 2019 Jetta?
I like the styling. I mean, I've been seeing the styling a lot.
Why is this more? Dude, move.
I've been seeing the styling a lot around. I love the headlights. The pickup is pretty cool.
Yeah, for a 1.4 liter.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's going to do well. I think one thing I also like about it is the technology. I think that, as we discussed, you're getting a lot of technology from the digital dash, from gesture, context awareness inside the vehicle. Like some of these context awareness stuff I see on cars that are like 3 times the price.
Let me flip this around so y'all can see what we're talking about. Come on. There it goes. Okay.
So see this? So I take my hand away and it's going to go out. And then when I put my hand there, it comes on. And then so it's aware. There's a sensor. I haven't touched it and it's already pulling up things. And when we're talking about computing in cars, you could actually do more machine learning and have it do more than just destination. It could actually learn and adapt and bring up different screens based on different actions that you do in the car. We talked about the 8-speed automatic, electronic parking, auto off. You have different driving modes.
Couple of USB ports.
A couple USB ports. As you can see, here's one for charging. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, the Mirror Link.
What's the mirror link?
Well, just mirroring your screen.
Oh, okay. So whatever. Okay, that's useful.
Yeah, so it can mirror the screen. Actually, connected TVs have the ability to do that. So on my Samsung, I'm able to take what's on my phone and then plug it in my big screen TV.
Like Chromecast.
Yes.
Kind of, sort of.
Basically, it functions in the same manner.
Right. And that digital dashboard with the car turned off goes completely blank. So everything you saw on the dash
and then you can see, so here you can see is a digital dash.
Is generated. And you can change the configuration of what you're looking at.
All right.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
See you guys.
Take care.